Hey there, YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of Lion Collectibles. It's our Friday edition of fight picks and cards. We are getting ready for UFC 214 tomorrow. It's Rodriguez versus Lemos at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. Of course, we want to start off by recapping our picks last week for UFC 213, Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen. Unfortunately, we did not do very well last weekend. We picked 4 fights, and we ended up going 1-3. Which does happen from time to time. We hope to stay away from those types of days, but it's what we had. Let's go ahead and jump into the recap of how the fights went. Started off the bat with our picks. It was rough. It was Philip Hawes versus Roman Dolidze. Dolidze looked amazing. The guy came in ready to go, didn't need any time to warm up, and right off the bat put pressure on Hawes. Hawes has been known to kind of take a little bit of time to warm up. Just never got, out of first gear. He was pretty quickly defending big strikes from Dolidze. He landed a good strike that kind of caused a scramble on the ground. Dolidze dove for a really, really cool looking knee bar. It looked like he had popped or tore an MCL or ACL of Hawes, but somehow Hawes fought out. And it looked like Hawes was going to start working his way back into the fight. We got excited, but Dolidze wasn't having any part of it. He looked for some good strikes, back Hawes up against the fence, and then landed a big bomb that knocked out Hawes cold. So unfortunately, we started off the night 0-1. Then we went to the main card, a fight that kicked off the main card between Dustin Jacoby and Khalil Roundtree. I felt like we got ripped off on that one, or Jacoby got ripped off. The fight was awesome. It was a back and forth strikers battle like we thought it would be. Khalil Roundtree was landing and throwing huge punches, super dangerous strikes the way he throws. Love watching that guy fight. And Jacoby was the more pinpoint striker on the inside, landed a lot of good inside low kicks that looked to damage Khalil in the second. So it seemed like it was 1-1 going into the third frame. I actually thought it could have been 2-0 for Jacoby, but thought it was probably 1-1. Third frame just showed Jacoby kind of doing more of those crisp strikes, and Khalil somehow fought through. It looked like he was getting a little bit tired, so he showed a lot of heart, landed some, what looked like bigger strikes, and unfortunately the judges gave him a split decision, which I thought should have went our way, but hey, it happens when you go to the judges. Of course, in the night, the 2 leans that we didn't pick actually won. Tresean Gore got a really nasty standing guillotine on Joshua Freud. Freud went for a takedown, and Tresean locked up a standing guillotine. Freud tried to roll, so it was a really interesting looking choke. If you haven't seen it, I recommend checking it out online. So he got the win. And then in the heavyweight snoozer, Waldo Acosta ended up picking up a win over Jared Vandervera. Costa looked good early, gassed later in the fight. Vandervera tried to turn it up way too late, but Costa was able to get the finish there. So, of course, 2 leans get the win, but we didn't pick them, so we don't get to count them. We had the co-main event. My boy, the Dirty Bird. I thought Tim Means fought amazing against Max Griffin. Came back from some early adversity. Griffin just looked to be the more athletic, more dynamic striker. He had a lot more kind of explosive energy, whereas Means kind of looks to wear on guys. Griffin hurt Means early, knocked him down. It looked like it was probably going to be an early night. Means, though, battled through, made it a really close fight. I thought he won the second round, and a couple of the judges did too. In the third round, it was a little bit closer, and Griffin for sure edged it out. I had it 2-1 Griffin. It was actually a split decision, so one of the judges did give it to our boy Dirty Bird, but unfortunately, he was not able to pick up that win, but we'll always root for that guy every time he comes out and fights. Then we have the main event, which did go our way. Arnold Allen picked up, a big win over Calvin Kattar. That fight was really great while it lasted. It did end in an unfortunate way. I thought Allen was getting the better of the standing strikes. There was not that big of a gap between what we thought Kattar might have an advantage over Allen, but I thought Allen looked good. He looked aggressive and explosive. And then, unfortunately, at the end of the first round, Kattar, in a little bit of a striking sequence, went for a flying knee. Allen circled out to the right side, and when Kattar came down, he landed on one of his legs kind of awkwardly. In the slow-mo, you can see it almost looks like a snap. Hurt his leg really bad. He actually made it to the second round, but at the beginning of the second round, Allen threw an inside leg kick, called it a night right then and there. So Allen picked up a win. I still think it's a big win. A win's a win. So it brought us to 1-3. Hurts to have that happen. Could have been 2-2 if the Jacoby fight would have went our way. But hey, that's the way it goes. And we just got to pick up and continue and keep making the best picks that we can. That brings us to 7-10 as a total record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reel it back a little bit until we can even up that record. I'm only going to pick 3 cards for this weekend's event. 3 fights for this weekend's event. And try to even up that score. Let's go ahead and jump into the fights for the weekend. UFC 214, Amanda Lemos versus Marina Rodriguez. And again, as I said, it's in the Apex in Las Vegas. Let's jump into the first fight. All right, so the first fight on the card, we have Grant Dawson versus the Olympian Marco Madsen. Marco Madsen, before becoming a UFC fighter, had quite the wrestling pedigree. He was a Greco-Roman, I believe is a silver Olympic medalist. And then he also holds 4 silvers in the World Championship. So quite an extensive background in grappling. As you can imagine, that's his fight style. He looks to control where the fight's going from a grappling perspective, put guys up against the fence. His striking's improved, of course, over the years, but that really is his path to victory. It's athleticism and strong grappling. Then you have Grant Dawson on the other side. He's actually, a prospect that's making a name for himself. He is undefeated over 7 fights since fighting in the UFC. And he's really a well-rounded guy. He's kind of that next generation of fighters that have the grappling, have takedowns, have strong striking. He likes to be more of a striker, really looks to kind of keep the fight on the feet, and he's proficient really wherever the fight goes. So the way I see this fight going, it's just going to be that. It's going to be, can Dawson keep the fight from going to the floor or keep himself from being dominated by Madsen? Madsen's striking just really isn't there to give anybody too much trouble. And so what I'm going to do is lean with Grant Dawson, the younger and really kind of the more well-rounded fighter. I think he'll have some trouble defending in the grappling exchanges against Mark, but if he can keep the fight on his feet, he should be able to frustrate Mark, start landing punches. I'd look for him to win a unanimous decision or maybe a late finish. Have a couple cards for Grant Dawson. He's a rookie in the 2022 Panini Series. This is his Phenom card. It's an insert that you can pick up. Kind of cool. I got a few of these for some of these younger fighters. I think it's a really nice card. A little bit of different phenomenon. Then you have, this is his base Octagon side. The Octagon side series of the Select. It's like a closer picture of them. I just think they're kind of cool. They're a little bit more rare. This is one of his base rookie cards for the Select. Just another kind of, believe this is called a concourse level. Nothing too crazy here, but it's a base. And then we have the one that I won actually off a Whatnot pack rip. It's relatively rare. It's a purple parallel, and it is out of 149. I think I saw one of these sell for like $5 or $6. So not a huge market on Grant Dawson yet. But again, he's 7-0. If he can pick up this win over Madsen, he'll get another higher ranked opponent and could be a cool hold to hold for a little while. Next 2 fights, we're not going to make picks on. I'll give you guys some leans. Again, narrowing it down to only 3 picks for this weekend. So we got Tagir Ulanbekov versus Nathan Maness. I haven't watched a ton of these guys. I've seen Maness fight a couple times. Have not watched Tagir live, but went back and watched a few of his fights. He's a Russian fighter, and he's going to look to use a lot of his takedowns and strong top control, as many of them do. He's got some striking. It's not to say that he doesn't have striking, but he's mainly a grappling fighter. He's 2-1 since entering the UFC in early 2021, and like I said, he's going to be looking to take it to the floor. Maness, he's 3-1 in his UFC run. He's more of an all-around guy. He does have some good striking, and really looks to finish fights via KO. This fight, it's really straightforward. Can Maness keep the fight on the feet, avoid being controlled, similar to the first fight? I think Maness probably can do it. I think his takedown defenses look pretty good. If I had to lean anyway, I'd lean on Maness, defending the takedowns, making it tough on the feet, and picking up a win. Then we have, in the heavyweight division, Chase Sermon versus Josh Parisian. Staying way away from this one, just because heavyweights, I don't know, sometimes they're pretty boring if there's not a lot of talent, and I feel like that's exactly what this is. Chase Sermon's a -135 favorite. He's the vanilla gorilla. This guy, I really feel he's been around the UFC too long. He's on his second run. It just shows how much that heavyweight division in the UFC needs new talent and blood. Chase Herman, I mean, he's typically a smaller heavyweight, so he's normally a little bit quicker than the guys he's fighting, but he's really not that much more agile than them. And so really, a lot of his fights are him maybe getting ahead a little bit early, then he gets into a firefight and gets KO. He's going against Josh Parisian. Josh Parisian, again, another guy that's not super athletic. I would say he's a heavyweight punching bag that works his way forward, tries to get his big old mitts on his opponent, and as long as he can not get knocked out, if he can take them down to the ground, he's going to use that big size in the grappling department and look for ground and pound. Prediction for this one, it's a coin flip. Like, take your pick. Can Parisian not get KO'd against Sherman and take him down and finish him? Or can Sherman kind of tire out the big guy, stay a little bit elusive, and land big shots and maybe get a finish? In the co-main event, we have a really interesting battle between Neil Magny and Daniel Rodriguez. Neil Magny, he's got a crazy record. He's 19-7 since 2003, longtime vet of the UFC, and really has kind of been a perennial contender for quite some time. The guy's gone on a few good runs, 4 or 5 wins, but then does seem to fall short when he gets those big fights. He's a really tall and lanky guy for the division. He loves to use that. So a lot of front kicks, leg kicks, jabs, likes to pressure guys and close the distance. Does a lot of great work from inside the clinch, knees, elbows, and then has a really, really great gas tank. So his goal really is to pressure fighters, have them spend a lot of energy fighting off his grappling and his takedowns, and then wear guys out and really pull away for them as the fights go on. Then you have Daniel Rodriguez, D-Rod, who is a guy that's coming in with a lot of hype on him. He is 8-1 in his UFC fight career. He's coming off a big win over Li Jang Lee in the big UFC 279 card, I believe, a few weeks ago. It was controversial because it was pretty close. A lot of people actually had it scored for Lee. But D-Rod, obviously was winning the fight early. He's shown to be a really good and potent boxer. The guy's got great boxing skills. He's trained with Donald Cerrone and that fight team. So, a lot of good striking, good cardio, and has shown, to have pretty good takedown defense. Prediction for this one, I do see it going Daniel Rodriguez's way. He's actually the underdog, but by a little bit. He's -105 to Magny -125. I can see Daniel Rodriguez really, defending any kind of takedowns and being proficient enough to not get pressured by Magny on the feet. Magny's going to try to work for those takedowns and clinch stuff, but I think Daniel Rodriguez will be able to get out of it. And then I just love the pop that Daniel Rodriguez has in his punches. I think Magny has kind of shown, a tendency to, if he can't control the fight early, if he can't become a front runner, then he can kind of wither as the fight goes on. And he's vulnerable to big shots. I don't have anything super cool for Daniel Rodriguez as of yet, but I do have some cards. Here's his base, and they're 2 kind of different bases. So this is not like the base is blue for this 2022 Select Series. And then I did get a silver version as well. So they're rookies. He was a rookie in this season. I got a Chronicles rookie. The Chronicles are different brands, so different looking cards. This is a Rookies and Stars. Kind of cool picture of him there. And then the last one I have is a base Prism, which is kind of the highest value of the cards, it seems. It's a horizontal. This is his fight against Kevin Lee. Again, huge win from him against a strong wrestler, which is why I think he might get the win this weekend. And last but not least, we have the main event, Marina Rodriguez versus Amanda Lemos. Rodriguez is the -225 favorite. Lemos is the +175 underdog. This one, Lemos, she had her title run halted by Jessica Andrade earlier this year, but just rebounded off of a big win over the karate hottie Michelle Watterson. It was a nice standing guillotine after kind of getting the better with her on her feet. But Ramos is definitely a stronger striker for that women's strawweight division. She's proficient on the ground and has jiu-jitsu, but again, always trying to keep the fight on her feet. And she's got a lot of more power than some of the other women in that division. She's got 7 finishes out of her 12 fights by TKO. So big puncher, big finisher, gonna look to drop big bombs on Rodriguez. Rodriguez herself is knocking on the door of a title challenge situation. She's on a 4-fight win streak over top competition. Her only loss in the UFC is to the current champion Carla Esparza. She's on the taller side, a little bit taller and lanky for the division at 5'10". And she is really mainly a striker as well. She's more of a counter striker, so she works behind a jab, behind leg kicks, frustrates opponents, wants them to come in and lands big strikes. I'm going to ride with her in this one to close out our betting. I think that she's going to be quicker than Amanda Lemos. I think she's going to frustrate Lemos by landing and scoring early. Lemos is going to start winging punches, as she does tend to do. She's either going to beat her and finish her late, likely, probably going to go to a decision. So we're going to go with Marina Rodriguez in the main event. I have one card for Marina, nothing big on hers either. This is a 2020 Prism horizontal card, kind of cool looking. As I said, the prisms are all real shiny and silver, and so we do have this one for Marina Rodriguez. Hopefully she'll get us a win, and if she's impressive, look for her to have her name tossed around title contention pretty quickly. And that's going to round us out for our picks for UFC 214, Rodriguez versus Lemos. Just to recap, we're going to pick 3 fights for the weekend. We're going to go with Grant Dawson over Marco Madsen. We're going to go with Daniel Rodriguez over Neil Magny. And then in the main event, we're going to back Marina Rodriguez to get the big win and possibly set herself up for a title shot versus Amanda Lemos. Little fun fact, if you were to do a parlay with those 3, Dawson, Rodriguez, and Rodriguez in the main event, it would give you plus 305 odds. So, I'm looking forward to being a little richer over the weekend. Thanks for joining me on this Friday. Hope everybody enjoys the fights and have a great weekend.